Welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. Today we're doing another brand review, and this week we are featuring Gyeon. So Gyeon are relatively newcomers to the detailing scene. I think they were founded back in 2012, so they've been around about 6 years. They've spread all around the world, and they've got kind of distribution points in most countries where there is a kind of detailing presence. Different to most detailing companies is that the foundation of all of the Gyeon products, they all point to their kind of ceramic range. So we're taking some of the products of interest that I picked out from kind of looking through the range, and products that I could actually use as part of putting a ceramic coating down on our car. So we've got various wash related products, decontamination, polish, ceramics, and then maintenance type top up products, and that's what we're going to walk through now. Well, let's start with Gyeon Bathe Essence. So whenever Gyeon use the word essence, it means like supercharged or super concentrated, I think. First thing to get across about this shampoo, is that it's a 2000 to 1 concentrate, which is right at the upper limits of what you can actually do in terms of concentration, which is quite impressive. It's not, you know, some of those shampoos contain lots of gelling agent. This is still quite thin, which is good. So it doesn't have that gelling agent in there. Breaks down very easily in the bucket, and once you measure it out, you can just pour it straight in. You know, it doesn't kind of cling to the little measuring thing, which is kind of an added bonus. Now, let's get down to the nuts and bolts of this. It costs $10.99 for 400 millilitres. A lot of the Gyeon products come in 400 millilitres rather than 500, but some of them also come in 500 millilitres. So always check your price per quantity if you're trying to look out for sort of value for money. Also, Gyeon offers sort of bulk or larger quantities of these products, and typically with the Gyeon products they're 4 litres rather than 5. So again, check your quantities versus price when you're looking at this sort of stuff. Now the cool thing about this is the concentration rate that they recommend is between 5 millilitres and 10 millilitres per bucket, and I tested it at 10 millilitres, and that's per detailing bucket. And it is intensely foamy at that sort of concentration, really foamy, which we'll talk about in a little bit. At 5 millilitres, I don't think it quite has enough foam in it for me. I like that, you know, soap sud stuff. So I would be looking to use this more closer to 10. Some other guys might be using it closer to 5. The important thing is that at 5 millilitres per bucket, you get 80 washes out of it, which makes the cost per wash around about 13p, I calculated. At 10 millilitres, the cost per wash is around 27p. And that's quite an important factor when you're looking at shampoos. And we're going to talk about all the price of some of the Gyeon stuff, because they're not cheap products. But this product, as well as performing well, offers you really good value for money. So what do I like about it? It doesn't have any sort of things in it, you know, to provide protection or gloss, which is an important product for Gyeon to offer if you're using it to kind of prepare a car for a coating. You wouldn't use the Bathe Plus, or you're wasting those protective kind of products which are going to be left on the clear coat. So they need this in their range. The shampoo is one of the foamiest, thickest that I've ever used so far. This is definitely going to be going into my shampoo shootout video that I'm going to be doing soon, and I was really impressed with the way this stuff works and the way it comes off the panel. I love them when they're thick and foamy, and this is probably, its claim to fame is it is the most concentrated shampoo that I've ever used so far. So this is really good stuff, Bathe Essence, and it's also pretty economical. So next up we're looking at Bathe Plus. So this is about £1, this is $11.95, which is about £1 more expensive than their Bathe Essence kind of super concentrated shampoos. You have to use this stuff at around 15 to 20 millilitres per bucket, so you have to use more. It's not as concentrated as the Essence. So that obviously means that the cost per kind of wash is significantly different. So it's more expensive to use this product to wash your car. So what are you getting for your money? Well, let me just read out what they say about the product first so you can understand it. So Gyeon Bathe Plus. Wash and coat in one simple step. Strong and long-lasting hydrophobic effect. Super slick wash. Easy self maintaining, cleaning, self-cleaning effect. Come on, learn to read, John. Should have put the glasses on. So this is a product, and we've reviewed shampoos on the channel before that have gloss enhancing agents, might have waxes in them, and really do leave a nice finish on your car. But this shampoo is slightly different, and what it's doing is adding a hydrophobic effect. So normally, products that do that, so they're products you can carry in water, are using speciality kind of siloxanes that are cationic, so they're kind of drawn, or cationic, they're drawn to the clear coat and they bond very, very rapidly. So they're very clever. Now the downsides of those siloxanes when you're using them is that they are transported in the water. To make them effective, they have to be present in quite high concentrations when you have very, very hot panels on your car. The problem with these types of products is that the water, which is essentially the carrier, dries out very quickly, and you're left with super kind of patches of concentrated product, and it can leave kind of like white streaking marks. So Gyeon advise you don't use this in sunlight, and that is a very important thing with all of these types of water-based siloxane products. They need to be used on cool panels, and that's very, very important. Let's go through the pros and cons of this, guys. The first major pro is that the repellency that this provides, if you use it on a dead car with no protection, that you just clean back and put this on, it adds an absolute ton of hydrophobic effect on application. You can just see it just from rinsing over the panel. Immediately after you've kind of wiped the panel with the suds and rinsed it off, the hydrophobic effect is really, really kind of prolific and evident. So it's not some Mickey Mouse bit of protection, it is laying down quite an amount of a very repellent substance on your car while you're cleaning it. So there's some time savings there. If you want to top up protection, you've got a ceramic coating on there, or even if you haven't, and you want to just add it during the wash process. That's the biggest advantage of this particular product. So the repellency is excellent. The finish, once you've dried the car, is slick and non-sticky, which is very important to me. You want a smooth finish on your car at all times. You don't want anything grabby or anything like that. You want the microfiber when you're drying it to kind of glide over the paintwork, and it also delivers on that. So the surface characteristics are nice. What are the negatives with this product? What things have I noticed about it? One, the foam is not as stable, nowhere near as stable as the Gyeon Essence. It's another positive that I should have mentioned with the Gyeon Essence. The foam stays in the bucket for ages. You know, I've gone around and washed the entire car, and the foam is still at that top of the bucket, hasn't disappeared. The foam in this will disappear quite rapidly. You can obviously just dunk the old pressure washer back into the bucket and blast it back up to create more foaming. So it's not quite as foamy as I would want it to be, and the foam isn't quite as stable. What else? There is another thing with this, is that it's competing with another one of the Gyeon products that we're going to talk about later on, the Gyeon Wet Coat, which is doing a similar thing. So you've got two different opportunities to lay down the siloxane that Gyeon are using, probably the same material in both products. Is laying this product down during the wash process the best time to do it, or is it the best time to do it after you've cleaned the car and you can use another product, which is something that I was considering. There was a lot of hype about this product, a lot of talk about it, and from using it I can understand why, that the repellent effect is really, really noticeable. Next up in this video we are looking at Gyeon Foam. This is their snow foam, effective pH neutral pre-wash. So let's read out what they say about it. Effective pH neutral pre-wash, body shop safe, does not strip waxes or affect coatings, the easiest way to safely wash a coated car, does not leave any spots or smudges. Right, that's the basic product description. We know pretty much what a snow foam is. Right now I want to run through all the sort of technical stuff, the positives and negatives. First off, Gyeon advise you use this at 1 to 5, so 1 part product in your snow foam lance to 5 parts water. That's the highest concentration, through to 1 to 15 for a kind of less concentrated, less product obviously in there, so perhaps less cleaning capability, less thicker foam. So at 1 to 5 it is an absolute foam fest, this thing, one of the foamiest I've ever used. So the halfway point between their recommended concentrations, come on brain, is 1 to 10. At that level, it's still nice and thick and foamy. Sometimes how they foam up can depend on how new your snow foam lance is as well. But mine has been cleaned recently, and the foaming levels of this, no problem with any of that. The second thing is, it is very nice to rinse off, as they say. Some pre-washes, you can rinse them off, but you really have to be careful. And when you're rinsing them, if you ever see any sort of more soap or detergent, you know, you really have to go at that to get it off, or it can leave a little kind of white film. This rinses away really, really nicely, so it's less prone to leaving any of those kind of products or materials that are in there on your car, which is ideally what you want. Now, this is not a beast of a traffic film remover or anything like that. It's a mild product that's really been formulated to maintain what's on there. So sometimes in the winter months when there's heavy snow, heavy road film and stuff that's really built up on your car, there are products, like I've said before, that are going to be stronger than a pH neutral pre-wash. But for maintaining protection, this is a decent pre-wash for sure. The only real other negative that I can provide you with the foam product is the price. So this product, if you get the bulk offering size, you know, which is what I like to do with snow foams, you get through a lot of them. It costs £38 to £40 for 4 litres. So that translates probably between roughly £45 to £50 for 5 litres if they had it there. And if you compare that with some other kind of reasonably premium brands, typically that market price is around £25 to £30 for 5 litres. So it's about 50% more expensive than a lot of the other pH neutral pre-washes that you can get. And that price for pre-washes, you can go down all the way down to £10 to £15 for 5 litres of concentrate. The price is the thing that has got me thinking, you know, is this good enough for me to spend that sort of money on? So that's what I've got to cover in this review, guys. But that is the Gyeon foam pre-wash product. Very nice, thick, very nice and concentrated, and comes off the car well. And you might want to consider it if you are using ceramic coatings on your car for sure. Next up, you're going to need to decontaminate your car, which is very, very important. Washing gets all the stuff that isn't stuck to the paintwork. You know, certain types of contamination, as we know, will stick there, and you need to get it off, you know, before you put the ceramic coating down. Very critical. So Gyeon will sell you a tar and glue remover. They'll sell you a fallout remover, I believe. They have a brochure that you can kind of ask one of the stockists to supply you that have got all of their products there, so you can read through and understand it. In this video, though, we're going to be looking at their water spot remover and their kind of degreaser panel wipe product called Gyeon Prep. So let's start with the water spot remover. So Gyeon water spot, what does it say here? Removes fresh water spots, easy to use, does not remove or damage the coating itself. Q2M water spot is safe only when sprayed and wiped off immediately. Never leave the product to dry, wipe carefully. Q2M water spot may reduce hydrophobicity. Check on small areas before use. And then there's a set of specific instructions, which is basically wash the car first with a pH neutral shampoo, rinse and dry, spray onto the panel, wait a few moments and wipe off with a soft microfiber. On very fresh spots, you can spray onto the microfiber only and then wipe over. So if you put it straight onto the panel, more product going on there, so it will give you a kind of, you know, a stronger kind of effect. Once you've done that, wash the car with a body shampoo afterwards. Possible use on paint or plastics or any other surface. Always wipe off carefully. Product left can damage glass or other surfaces if left to dry. So I like the directions there. They are telling you about the things you need to be mindful of when you're using water spot removers. Water spot removers typically will use ammonia or acids in there because the minerals that are kind of embedded into the coating or the clear coat, the most effective way to do those is to kind of shrink them with an acid. So the acid attacks the minerals, shrinks them and dislodges them, and then when you kind of wipe over them with the microfiber, you absorb them and you take them out of the, you know, the surface of the either the car or the coating that they're embedded to. So it's basically a spray-on, wipe-away product. It's pretty easy to use. And I have a positive here. I just wrote it works. So it removed all of the water spots off the car. It's a clear product. There's no streaking issues or anything like that. I don't think there's any detergents in it. Like they say, it is acid-based. So, you know, acids, you have to use this with water spot removers, guys. I mean, everyone panics when you hear the word acid, you know, stuff that contains acids, but they are an important part of detailing, and having an effective water spot remover is very important for a car detailing company that has a range of ceramics. And this product has delivered for me. So next up we are looking at Gyeon Prep. So excellent oil and grease remover. So it's effectively a degreaser. Easy to use, completely body shop safe, always used before applying any quartz coating. So it's typically after you've polished a car, you want to go in and degrease and get those polishing oils off of the car. Shake well before use, simply spray onto the paint and wipe the surface. Avoid using it in direct sunlight. Even more important with solvent preparation product, guys. When you're outside and there is heat on the clear coat and panels of your car, that raises the temperature of the clear coat, okay, and that puts the temperature of the clear coat closer to its kind of natural melting point, if you like, and it also expands the clear coat, and the clear coat is more vulnerable at those points to solvents on them, and as well as that, the solvents are more likely to dry on the clear coat, and that is something that you really want to avoid. Almost tempted to do another video on that because it's a big area that you can get caught out on. So be careful with any degreaser like this that's using a solvent. And do not break that rule, and do not allow it to dry on the panels. Spray on, wipe off on cool panels out of sunlight. Very, very important. So what can I say about Prep? Well, I'm pretty sure this is a water miscible cocktail of various solvents. I think it's IPA based primarily with limonene in there, I believe. It's scented, so it's hard to gauge what's in there, but it's almost certainly water-based, or the water is the carrier. Let's get that right, which makes it a little bit milder than some of the degreaser products, which are pure kind of mineral solvent based. Limonene is a very, very nice solvent, a very nice product. I've got some in there and I play around with it. Helps with the removal of waxes and stuff like that at small quantities. So it'll be in there because it's part of the cocktail of what's making this an effective product. So Prep, I like. Will you see me buying tons of it and using it? Possibly not because of the price. But while I've got this bottle here, I will be using it. And you know, I trust it. There are more aggressive things, you know, if it's a non-water based non-water based degreaser, you know, a pure mineral oil or a mineral oil cocktail, I can notice it has a stronger degreasing effect than a water based one like Prep. But then some of those other products are even more, you've got to be even more careful about how you use them, even if there isn't sunlight involved. So there is that positive that it's a pretty safe product, but while still being effective. So I hope that's a fair kind of appraisal of Gyeon Prep. Okay, so next we're going to move on to liquid abrasives. Very simple. All Gyeon's liquid abrasives, they measure cut and finish on a scale of 1 to 6. And they have two very simple products here. Compound, which is 6 out of 6 for cutting, 4 out of 6 for gloss. Leaves behind a very high level of finish. All of these abrasives now, they're so clever the way they do that. It's a diminishing abrasive. And their polish is 4 out of 6 for cut. So you could still use it, you know, if you've got relatively new clear coat that's got a little bit of swirl damage. But this is top or 4 out of 5 for finish. So they have a product that gives a higher level of finish in there than this. These are quite standard. There's not much to talk about with these. Diminishing compounds that you spread out at low speeds. You can use them on dual action polishers, rotaries, forced rotations with microfiber, foam, wool, any medium, and they will work. So I tested them on the, I think I tested them with the rotary. It's been a while since I did all this sort of overlay shots, and I'm playing around with these on the panel, and it worked fine. You will get the telltale sign with these products. Gyeon say work them until they start to diminish and then stop and work them down. And they say work them at medium speeds. There's a water-based element in the carrier to these products. You know, these polishes, they can all have slightly different formulations, but typically they're kind of like water as a part of the carrier, and then a glycerin or a kind of glycerol part of the product, which is used to kind of provide lubrication and kind of slip in there. And then they typically have some sort of like polymer as a thickening agent that holds the abrasives in there rather than all the abrasives sinking to the bottom. So you get that kind of abrasive cream. I can feel the water-based element to this, and it's that water-based element that is going to kind of dry out on you first when you overwork them. So I don't know quite what Gyeon mean where they say work it till it's diminished. You work it, at least in my little teeny brain, you work it until the carrier isn't functioning. When the carrier stops functioning, you stop transporting the abrasives over the surface of the clear coat, and you're not really achieving much. When that starts to happen, you go from seeing the trails behind your machine polisher to seeing sections of clear panel, till eventually you'll be completely dry buffering if you ignore those telltale signs. You get decent working time with these products, but I can feel the water-based component to them. Now, the star of the show in all this abrasive range is the next one that I want to talk about, which is the Compound Plus. So they've got one above the Compound Plus. Now this offers the same level of cut as their standard compound, so it's probably using the same abrasive powders in there, but what it gives you is a longer working time, which is something which is really desirable to me. And from just playing around with these products, I can see that you can work this for longer, which is beneficial. So if it's giving me the same level of cut and finish but extended working time, the one that I'd recommend if you're looking for a heavy cut compound out of our two products is the Compound Plus. Really, really good. Next, I want to move on to the Gyeon Primer. Now, this is an interesting one. This is like, for me personally, this is like a new product alert. So it's always cool when I get to use something that's different. So let me just read out what this says. Ultralight finish and SiO2 primer, superb, perfect preparation. Okay, so that's like the product description. This is only a little kind of sample bottle, so they're probably on a bigger bottle would be more information about the product. But what this is it's a specific product which you can use as a finishing polish, your final kind of stage polish before your ceramic coating goes on, that contains a form of silica, and I'm interested what that form of silica is, because it can't be the same material they put in the ceramic coatings, because that can't be carried in a polish, it can't be carried in, like I said, water, it can't be carried on its own in mineral oil. So it's a different material, whatever this primer is. And I'd be interested to know what that material is. Now, what are you getting by using this primer? Now, I've just made some little notes of it. Again, with the Gyeon products, work it out over the panel at low speeds and then work it on medium speeds, and do not work this stuff too hard, because it's quite sensitive to being overworked. That's one thing I've learned about it. Work it slower and you'll get kind of longer set and a chance to actually get kind of more refining done. Some negatives with this. One, it contains blue dye. Now, this is a personal thing. Some people might say, well, the dye is there to tell you that it's a primer product, it's different. So if you ever see that, you squirt it out, you know you're using the primer product. But I just didn't like the fact that my pad had all gone blue after the fact I'd used it, and I'd rather the blue dye wasn't in there personally. If it is dye, assuming it's dye, might be what the speciality chemical might be blue, but I don't think so, I think it's dye. The other negative is that compared to some other finishing polishes that I've used, I can't work this as long. I have to be mindful and use it like Gyeon say at medium speeds. So I had to adjust how I would normally polish to sort of work with this product more. So I suppose that's a negative, but that's also part of life, isn't it? Now, there is another consideration with this product, guys, and I'm very cautious that I'm delving into lots of negatives here. And part of this is because I'm new to this type of product and I don't have the experience, so I'm kind of questioning a lot of this stuff. But Gyeon recommend, and I use the word recommend carefully, that after you've used this product and you've done your polishing and you kind of wiped the excess off, Gyeon recommend that you leave this product on the panel for 24 hours. So the carrier system, the water and the solvents or whatever in there will vaporize over that 24 hours and leave behind the primer material, the form of SiO2, whatever material it is, and I'd be interested to know exactly what that is, so that you're just left with that on the clear coat as a primer. Now, they also say that you can, if you can't wait 24 hours, you can get an infrared lamp on it and reduce that time down. Fine for the guys in the trade who've got that equipment, but I don't, and I'm not going to be getting infrared lamps. You know, that's just it. Or you can just go over it with the prep after you've polished and then wipe away. But they recommend that you leave it for 24 hours. So if you go in with the prep straight away and the carrier hasn't, you know, and the carrier and the solvents haven't had 24 hours to fully vaporize and leave the SiO2 behind, are you buffing away, you know, most of that primer? That's the thing that I don't fully understand, and it's the thing that I cannot measure. Now, waiting 24 hours for me is a bit of a showstopper. So that's the dilemma I've got with this, guys. Let's just go back into some other positives as well, because I'm aware I'm diving into a lot of considerations here. And my point of view is a guy at home, not a professional's point of view. What I can see with this is if you put it down on a test panel and you leave it 24 hours, when you come back and you feel the surface, it feels absolutely lovely. I mean, finishing polishes always leave a nice smooth finish, but this feels so slick. So that material, whatever it is nice. You know, really feels like a low friction kind of smooth surface on the panel. And the level of gloss, you know, it's providing you with a really, really nice finish that you would want on your car. So the product works. The two negatives around perhaps having to use it, I can't work it as hard as some finishing polishes, and I can't work it as long, and I've got to leave it 24 hours. They are the biggest considerations for me. Now you probably, you're never going to really know the benefit you're going to get from this primer, and that's the thing that makes me feel I might be missing out on something by not using it, and I don't really know is the honest truth, guys. So it's a really interesting product. Comment back on your thoughts about this. I bet there's loads of guys using it in the trade because they like how it leaves the paint and they can use the infrared lamps. But perhaps it's fair to say it's less friendly for the guys at home that might not want to wait that long, and you might lose the benefits by hitting it with the prep straight away. Worth noting, if you do leave it for 24 hours, they still say to use the prep on the car and wipe it down. So right, next, guys, we're going to go to the heart of Gyeon, their ceramic coatings, and the reason why I approached them to do this review, because I got very impressed with one of their particular coatings. Now, quite simply with Gyeon, they break it down into three categories: enthusiast, professional, and certified only. So Gyeon Can Coat is $28.95 for 200 millilitres, so that's quite a lot of coating. Why is it cheaper? Well, it's fair to say there is less of the kind of solids or the hard curing components in this product, and that's why it's called a little bit of a lightweight ceramic. But they also put in the hydrophobic components in here so that you get kind of all the beading performance and stuff like that. But you have more carrier in there, and I think there's an abundance of a different type of carrier than you'll find in a normal ceramic coating, I believe. It almost feels like it's kind of like an oil-based carrier, but the basic effect of that is that you are under less time pressure from the moment that you lay the product out on the panel to when you have to buff. So it's a little bit more forgiving to apply. In fact, they are incredibly easy to apply. The only thing you've got to do the same is you've got to do good prep with all of these, but in terms of laying them out on the panel, these are pretty easy to use. One thing I'd say is when you're using this product, guys, just be mindful of atomizing this up in the air and stuff like that, because you're actually, the difference with this is you're spraying it out of the nozzle. So Gyeon do provide a particle filter. It doesn't come with this particular product, or you can get a normal particle filter mask, so you're going to have small particles of the product there. So to use it properly, guys, you'll always be gloved up with the, I think you should be wearing safety protection to avoid you accidentally poking yourself in the eye and putting products in your eyes. But you might also want to wear a particle filter with this. If you don't, use it in a well ventilated area, and obviously just spray it close to the applicator so you're not misting it around everywhere. You know, that's an exaggeration, but just put it into the applicator. You know where I'm going with that. The pluses, guys. This product buffs to a smooth finish, so you're not getting any smears or streaks. There is some resistance with this. There's a little bit of stick, but it did not stop me being able to lay this down over the panel and get a nice glossy smooth finish. So that's fine. I don't mind a bit of resistance. I think it's actually the hydrophobic material in here that's causing that when it's mixed in with it, but I'm not 100% sure. But there's a bit of resistance as it starts to bond. So actually, the sooner you can work it, the better, but you don't have to panic. I think this is really good stuff, and it's actually good value for money. You don't have to use that much more than a normal ceramic, so you can do quite a few cars with this, and like I say, get a feel for what ceramics are offering you. So next up in the ceramic coatings, Gyeon Pure. So this is a 1-layer coating, guys. This is very kind of, that particular part of it is very desirable for some people. They don't want to be waiting between kind of applications and, you know, waiting for cures and stuff like that, but they still want the performance. Now I've got my notes on this particular product here. I think Gyeon Cure is offering you 18 months protection, you know, durability. So it's got a decent amount of durability in there. Anything that can get beyond a year that's a consumer grade product and a single stage coating is doing well. The cost of Gyeon Pure is $69.95 for this kit that contains 50 millilitres, I believe. Yeah, 50 millilitres of the product, which is a lot. Probably enough to do 2 cars at least there, if you're not hurling the stuff on. We'll talk about that. And their kind of water-based top-up product, Gyeon Cure. And all the instructions you need to apply this, and applicators and all that sort of stuff. Now, Gyeon Pure, what do I think about this stuff? This is harder to apply than Can Coat. I fell into a trap, and this is why Gyeon, I think, have got these classifications of enthusiast, professional, and then advanced enthusiast, that there's certain little considerations with application. Now, this is quite a sticky coating for me, and with a sticky coating, I find if you put loads of it on and you wait longer than 30 seconds or a minute to buff, the coating can be very heavy and you'll get a hell of a lot of resistance. You cannot just do a sort of like nice shot of you gliding the microfiber over the panel to level it. You're going to have to grab a hold of that microfiber. With this coating, the first time I applied it on the Golf, and just on a section of the panel, I messed up the application. And I've since gone again on the test panel, the black test panel, and now I understand how I can apply it better without running into this issue. I used too much of it on the Golf and I waited too long, and because of that I got some streaking. On the black test panel, I used less product and I buffed immediately. Still got some grab and resistance, but I was able to kind of get the product onto the panel without getting any streaking. So that's some of the real considerations with these products, guys. Like I say, Gyeon have that enthusiast line for a reason, and there are those entry-level products. So the danger is you go and use a product that is in this professional line and might have a few more considerations and get poor results. So you can always speak to Gyeon about what is best for your level of experience, but that is one of the reasons for me doing this review. And the Pure product, I would say, is definitely for people that have got a little bit more experience and have laid a few of these down and have dealt with a coating that might be quite sticky. Once you do that and you get this coating laid down properly, it's very hydrophobic, and it claims 18 months product durability. I can't wait 18 months for releasing this video, and I can't go as in depth as I did with the best ceramic, waiting 6 months and doing 3 months and doing the gloss readings and stuff to look for gloss retention. Can't do that with all the videos. So I'm trusting Gyeon's kind of claims on products. So its biggest advantage is that it can give you all of that 18-month performance, lots of repellency with a single stage coating, which is going to be desirable to lots of people. So that is the Gyeon Pure. Right, so the next ceramic coating I'm talking about in this video, the Gyeon Synchro Kit. So this is a layered ceramic coating that again is in their professional or advanced user range, and we'll talk about how it is to apply a little bit later on. So this consists of the Moss base coat that they describe as an extremely hard, very hydrophobic ceramic coating for automotive paint. This stuff on its own is not hydrophobic relative to other things, so I think they're probably talking about the overall package. This stuff is a different type of material than a lot of the other ceramic coatings that I've used. And it's used in this layered approach to provide the foundation layer. So it's the high solid. It's the thing that's the most, giving you the most kind of scratch resistance, which is obviously a very controversial area of ceramic coatings, that the scratch resistance is quite minimal, although there's some, and you can't say that about other forms of sealants or waxes. Although some of the sealants could give you perhaps lower friction, but virtually no scratch resistance. There's a small amount of scratch resistance like this, to the point where people that have used them on soft paintworks have noticed kind of an improvement with ceramic coating. So it's not a false claim, but it's just to understand it's not, you can still scratch your car if it's got a ceramic coating on it, okay? So the Moss base coat and the Gyeon skin top coat. Now, how do you apply this stuff? Well, you do all the same prep. We've done an ceramic application video, not specific to this product, but we've talked about this a lot in the best of ceramic coating, where I looked at 3 market leading combinations or packages of products, and this was my favourite. You lay out Moss, and you do all your prep, you lay out Moss like you would any normal ceramic coating, but you have to put down a minimum of 2 layers, and they advise a maximum of 3, with an hour in between each coat. Now, the main thing to say about this Moss coating in terms of application is there is no stickiness, or there is no drag, and there is no resistance when you buff it off of the panel. And that is something that to me is massively important. I want that coating to look crystal clear. The less grippy and the less draggy it is, the easier I can just level the coating and get a kind of the finish that I want. And that's one of the things that I love about this particular coating. And when I love something about the coating, you will hear me say it. So I love applying the Moss base coat because it is easy to level after application. Yes, it's a bit of a pain to wait an hour between each layer. You can increase that time if you've got the infrared lamps, but most guys at home are not gonna. Now, the Moss coating on its own, even though it says it's hydrophobic, I've tested this on test panels up against other ceramic coatings, and on its own it is not hydrophobic, relatively speaking, compared to other coatings. It seems like it's quite dead. If you used Moss on its own, you might think the coating was gone after a couple of weeks, because you're not seeing that rapid sort of pushing off of water. But this is a layered system, and this is where this skin product that's designed to go on top, after you put your 2 or 3 coats down, you wait 4 hours, and then you put this skin product down. And what does it say about this? Thick, flexible, super slick top coat, protects the base coat, adds top hydrophobicity. For instructions, see the manual, and there's good instructions on this. After 4 hours, you lay this down, and this product, again, a bit like the Moss, is very, very thin, and there is 0 stick. So you can level this coating very, very easily. And every time I've used this, I have never had a problem with it. I've only tested it. It's going to go on the car in anger, but I've put it down on test panels a few times. And every time I've had to buff it back, straight away I just think that is absolutely lovely to work with, which, like I've said, with the Moss is really, really important to me. So disadvantage has to be layered. Advantage is a joy to work with in terms of buffing off of the panel, which is one of the most important things with ceramic coatings for me. One other thing with the overall Gyeon Synchro package, and it's a characteristic of the skin top coat, is the smooth, silky smooth finish that it gets on the surface that you can feel. You can feel it with your hands and your fingers. You can feel it in your toes. You can definitely feel it if you put a microfiber down on it and just move it over there slowly. It's silky smooth and almost like the microfiber just wants to slide off. The other ceramic coatings, they're not sticky once they've cured, but they don't have the low friction qualities of this particular skin top coat, and that's including Gyeon's own products and other ceramic coatings that I've used. It's really, really slick to the point where you can feel the improvement, and I think that's part of the reason that this helps with the dirt repellency as well. When I've had this on the test panel sitting under a tree for weeks and I've gone to rinse that test panel off, the dirt seems to come off easier on the area of the panel that had the skin product on there. So it's giving me surface characteristics which I can notice. It is also crystal clear, this kind of ceramic coating package, the combination of both of these products. I've never been able to sort of leave areas of it that are streaked or that have discoloured the kind of panels that you can sometimes see. It's absolutely crystal clear. So I'm giving you all of the kind of things that I love about this coating, and it's the reason that this thing won the kind of my little best ceramic video. One other thing I haven't talked about is the hydrophobicity of skin compared to the hydrophobicity of the other products. Now, like I said, I think this is a fluorine based ceramic coating, and fluorine gives you the highest kind of contact angles to water and all that sort of stuff. A lot of them, the other ones, are kind of using forms of silicone resin in there, maybe even some of the other Gyeon products. The top recommendation that I can give on the Forensics Detailing channel, I'm giving to the Synchro Kit, is a 5 out of 5 star product for me, and I've not seen anything like it so far with all my kind of playing around with ceramic coatings, and I've got a box full of them down there. So I absolutely love this stuff. Hats off to Gyeon for developing it, putting it out there. It is a brilliant product. Finally, guys, is the Gyeon Rim ceramic coating. So this product, let's just go through the basics. It costs $24.95 for 30 millilitres of product, which is a pretty decent price actually. It claims 6 months durability, which is lower than some of the other wheel ceramic coatings on the market, which is interesting. Gyeon do say it will easily do 6 months. I will tell you if it lasts 6 months or not in 6 months' time. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on durability. It's something that's important to me because it's quite a lot of work to take these alloy wheels off and coat them. Took the alloy wheels off the car, cleaned them, always fun, decontaminated them and all that sort of stuff, clayed them, didn't polish them, they didn't really need it. I mean, ideally you would if you had the time. There's always a trade-off with time. So it can be a bit fiddly applying it to the rim, but I've managed to buff this and I don't have any kind of patches or smear marks or unlevel bits on the alloys as far as I can see. So the application of the product's been a success, which is always important whenever I use something for the first time. So that is Gyeon Rim, a hydrophobic high solids coating for your alloy wheels that offers 6 month protection. Finally, last but not least, Gyeon Wet Coat. What the hell is this stuff, guys? It says Ultimate Super Hydrophobic Spray and Rinse Coating. Spray and rinse. So contactless, spray on the panel when it's wet, rinse it off type product. Shake well before application. Use only after washing the car with a pH neutral shampoo. Apply product on a wet surface. Rinse immediately with a kind of pressure washer. Although I can see why, because they really want you to flush all of the kind of excess product off there and not let it dry. But you can use a hose, and I used a hose at a kind of pressure setting and make sure I get it all off of there. Do not use in direct sunlight. So, you know, it's these products, and I talked about this earlier on with the Gyeon Bave, they contain high concentrations of this siloxane that's in there, and they are in the water, and if the water is drying out quickly, you get and the product's put in there and it dries out quickly, you've got very high concentration of product in a small area, and that will lead to like little streak marks. So it has to be used on cool panels. Gyeon are telling you that, and if you break that rule with this product, it's literally the only thing that can go wrong. Now let's refer to my notes, guys. Gyeon Wet Coat. The positives: no buffing. You spray it on, you rinse it off. You can apply this to your car so rapidly. It's so easy to apply. It's lazy. You just walk around, give it a little poke with the product, give it a little rinse, move on to the next panel. With this particular product that is already ready to go, kind of, it's a product that's ready to use. You haven't got to bulk it out with more water or anything like that. You will affect the concentration. You could have water for this. Don't do that. Use it as they intend. You can control where you're spraying it. So if you want don't want to put this on your glass or plastics, although you're going to get some going there from the runoff. You just concentrate it on the panel and then kind of rinse it off the panel, and then you get the bulk of the product where you want it. It bonds, you know, quicker than Usain Bolt gets out of the block. These products are rapid bonding, this Catonic stuff. As soon as the product comes into contact with your panel, the materials in there, the siloxanes, just donk, like magnets on metal. They just go straight to the panel and they stick there. And that is why you can rinse this off straight away and notice the effect. And that's the next positive. Ridiculous amounts of beading on application. This is crazy when you spray this on a panel, even a completely untreated panel. You spray on, rinse off, and suddenly that coating is like you've got the most hydrophobic product on there that you've ever seen. Now, it's not a monster on durability. You know, it doesn't last years. I think, you know, that protection will stick around for a fair old while because it's bonding, but that intense hydrophobic effect will kind of fade away after washes, and you might get a couple of months out of this, so you probably don't need to be using this every single wash. You know, you're going to be putting too much product on your car if you are. So use it when the repellency backs down and you want to increase that kind of effect. But it's so hydrophobic on application. The beads are ridiculous. The next positive, and this is my opinion, this product, the wet coat, is a better method, or it's a better format to apply this type of siloxane in, I believe, than trying to put this material or the similar technology into the car shampoo, the Gyeon Bathe. I think it's the better opportunity. Obviously the Bathe Plus that has this similar technology in it, you kind of get to lay the protection out for free while you're washing the car, but I think it interferes too much with the washing process for me, and this is so quick to apply. You wouldn't have Gyeon Bathe Plus and wet coat because they're offering you the same thing, and out of the two I prefer wet coat. So I've put there the only negative, and it's not really negative, it's something to do with a lot of products, is you don't use it in the heat, and they're telling you that. So just use it as they intend, and you will get pretty amazing results. I've heard a lot of people talking about this product. This one's an absolute winner for me, guys. I love this stuff. It's another one of the 5-star products. Overall, guys, this has been a really good experience, and I think Gyeon are a solid brand. I'm telling you that I think they are going to go from strength to strength, and they're already well known and established, but I think they're just going to get bigger and bigger because these products coming out of Korea, they're a little bit different, they're a little bit funky, and they're definitely a little bit cool. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. All the products that I featured in here I'll link in the description, and there's a discount code there where you can get 10% off the prices, which is pretty significant. On 100 quid ceramic coating, that's like a tenner off, so that's a decent discount. Thanks very much for watching. Let me know in the comments what Gyeon stuff you like, what you use, what your favourite products are, and we'll take it from there. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. See you on the next video on the Forensics Detailing channel. Bye for now.
On to what I knew, but the moment's gone. Where was I when you